from the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. Radio Pilipinas World Service can also be heard on shortwave broadcast through the facilities of the United States Agency for Global Media, or Voice of America, on the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. I'm your host, Leo Magpayo, and this is Dateline Malacañang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. pointed to the Antique Airport Development Project as a model for cost-efficient, high-impact infrastructure, saying it proves how far public funds can go once spent properly. Speaking at the inauguration of the newly rehabilitated airport in San Jose de Buenavista on Monday, the president said he was struck by the relatively low cost of the upgrades. President Marcos noted that the total bill for improvements to the passenger terminal building reached only 120 million pesos, with the control tower accounting for 42 million pesos of that amount. The revamped airport now features a dramatically expanded terminal from 181 square meters to 2,224 square meters, boosting seating capacity from 64 to 360 passengers. Check-in counters have tripled from 2 to 6. Other major upgrades include a newly developed ramp that can handle up to 4 jet aircraft at once, a taller 7-story control tower, modern baggage handling and flight information systems, and an extended runway, now 1,800 meters long, enabling jet operations. According to the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, or CAAP, the terminal itself cost around 120 million pesos, while the full development program from 2017 to 2023 amounts to 1.5 billion pesos. President Marcos emphasized that the Antique project shows what government can accomplish with disciplined spending. The chief executive urged officials to use the airport as a benchmark for future public works, especially amid persistent concerns over corruption, substandard construction, and overpricing. President Marcos also underscored the need for timely and well-executed projects so communities can benefit immediately. The Philippine president added that the Antique upgrade is part of a broader modernization push that includes major improvements at Iloilo International Airport and Rojas Airport, aimed at boosting tourism, trade, and economic activity across Western Visayas.
At ang sinabi sa akin, the total cost for all of the improvements and the construction was 120 million pesos. That is, nung sinabi sa akin, medyo nagulat ako. At sabi ko, napakamura. Yung tower pa lang, 42 million. It's 42 million lamang ang ginastos. Ito ay isang magandang halimbawa na kung tama ang pinaglalagyan ng pera ng tao, makikita natin napakarami na kaya natin gawin mas mabilis, mas mura at mas maganda. Gawin ninyo itong pamantayan para sa ating serbisyo sa mga residente at sa ating mga turista. Tiyakin natin na isasagawa ng maayos ang mga proyekto upang mas mabilis itong mapakinabangan ng ating mga mamamayan. Sama-sama, itaguyod natin ang isang bagong Pilipinas kung saan maginhawa ang pamumuhay, maunlad ang pamayanan at matatag ang ating bayan.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. visited Bacolod City on Monday to inspect the newly opened Subag water treatment plant, an infrastructure milestone aimed at securing clean and reliable water for hundreds of thousands of residents. During the facility, the President emphasized that dependable water systems are vital to public health and economic growth, calling the project a product of sound planning and responsible investment. President Marcos noted that the Sumag plant, now one of the largest in the Negros Island region, will play a central role in strengthening Bacolod's long-term water security. The facility supplies treated bulk water to the Bacolod City Water District, ensuring a more stable and consistent supply for the city.
It is an initiative that represents sound infrastructure planning and responsible investment in our country's future. As we all know, water is a precious resource that sustains our health and our life and enables economic activities. When water systems work, progress flows. The Sumag water treatment plant is a clear example of how the public and private sectors can work together to provide solutions. Considered one of the largest water treatment facilities in the Negros Island region, the Sumag Water Power Plant strengthened Bacolod City's long-term water security. This facility supplies treated bulk water to Bacolod through the City Water District to ensure a reliable water supply for the city.
In the town of Salvacion, Murcia, the plant can produce up to 75 million liters of potable water per day, enough to serve around 100,000 households or roughly 500,000 residents across Bacolod City and the municipality of Murcia. President Marcos acknowledged Tubig Pilipinas Group Incorporated and its subsidiary Bacolod Bulk Water Incorporated for spearheading the project and highlighted the contribution of international partners, including Israel-based Watermatic International, which provided advanced treatment and automation technology. The chief executive said the 1.5 billion peso investment, supported by shareholder equity, climate fund managers, and the Development Bank of the Philippines, reflects strong confidence in the country's infrastructure sector, particularly in projects aligned with climate resilience and sustainable development. President Marcos Jr. also underscored the importance of public-private partnerships in addressing development challenges, stressing that well-planned, responsibly financed infrastructure must directly benefit communities. The Philippine President added that the Sumag water treatment plant stands as proof of what collaboration can achieve, reinforcing the administration's push to build a new Philippines through projects that uplift everyday life.
With a capacity to deliver up to 75 million liters of potable water per day, this project will benefit about 100,000 households, roughly 500,000 residents. It would not be possible without the direction of Tubig Pilipinas Group Inc. through its subsidiary Bacolod Bulk Water Incorporated. At the same time, the project benefited from international expertise, including water treatment and automation technology from Israel-based Watermatic International. The 1.5 billion peso investment, funded through shareholder equity with participants from climate fund managers, the DBP, reflects our strong confidence in the infrastructure sector. It demonstrates our country's established position to make long-term investments succeed. It is particularly true for those aligned with climate resilience and with sustainable development. Ladies and gentlemen, projects such as the Sumag water treatment plant remind us that as long as we work together, we can transform our communities for the better. It reinforces this administration's direction to create well-planned, responsibly financed infrastructure for our people. May our path ahead be clear, and the water that will flow in our communities nurture as we build a bagong Pilipinas for all.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Monday reaffirmed its respect for constitutional processes, saying the filing of complaints is part of the country's democratic framework. The palace also assured the public that President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. will continue to lead and keep government services running without disruption. In a statement read by Palace Press Officer Claire Castro in a press briefing, the Presidential Communications Office, or PCO, said it trusts Congress as a co-equal branch of government to carry out its duties with integrity and full adherence to the rule of law. It added that the President remains committed to upholding the Constitution and confident in the strength of the country's democratic institutions. Malacañang emphasized that while these processes move forward, the President's focus remains on governance and ensuring that public services continue uninterrupted, with government efforts centered on improving the lives of Filipinos. The palace stressed that institutions remain strong, procedures are clear, and the administration is firmly committed to stability, accountability, and the welfare of every Filipino.
The palace recognizes that the filing of the complaints is part of the democratic process provided for under our Constitution. We respect this process and trust that Congress, as a co-equal branch of the government, will discharge its duties with honesty, integrity, and fidelity to the rule of law. The President fully upholds the Constitution and remains confident in the strength of our democratic institutions. While these processes take their course, the President will continue to govern, ensuring that public services remain uninterrupted and that the work of government stays focused on improving the lives of our people. Our institutions are strong, our processes are clear, and the administration remains committed to stability, accountability, and the betterment of every Filipino.
Castro emphasized that the issues raised are not new and have long been addressed. She stressed that all actions of the President have been within legal bounds, adding that the complaint as it stands lacks merit. The palace official also pointed out that one of the groups supporting the complaint had previously been flagged during the probe into alleged anomalies in flood control projects, noting its inclusion among 8 contractors identified by the Independent Commission for Infrastructure. The impeachment complaint, filed by lawyer Andre De Jesus and endorsed by Pusong Pinoy Party List Representative Jet Nisay, accuses the President of constitutional violations and betrayal of public trust. The allegations include issues surrounding the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte on an international criminal court warrant, as well as supposed corruption linked to flood control projects. This marks the first impeachment complaint filed against President Marcos since he assumed office in 2022.
Sa ngayon po, wala pa po tayong masasagot dahil hindi pa po rin natin nakikita kung anong lalamanin ng kanilang impeachment complaint. Mas mabuti po siguro makita muna po natin kung ano ang kanilang basihan para sa pagsasampa ng impeachment complaint para pas maganda po ang ating maging kasagutan. Wala po tayong personal na kaalaman kung ano ang kanilang intensyon patungkol po sa pag-file ng impeachment complaint. Ang atin lamang pong nalalaman sa ngayon ay ang party list na nag-endorse ay isa sa 8 na contractors na nabanggit ng ICI.
Palace Press Officer Attorney Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, is giving its assurance that the long-delayed and sinking Aganan flyover in Iloilo Province will finally be completed before the end of the year. DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon, who inspected the structure on Monday, said the project has been elevated to priority status and construction will be fast-tracked. Dizon added that both he and the President are committed to seeing the flyover finished before Christmas of 2026, noting that the project has dragged on for far too long. He said the President has directed the DPWH to push long-stalled projects nationwide toward completion, citing the Aganan flyover as a prime example. To ensure structural integrity, Dizon has also ordered the engagement of foreign consultants to conduct a third-party assessment. The Agayan flyover began construction in 2020 and was originally expected to be completed within 2 years.
Ito ang directive ni PBBM na all over the country, yung mga project kamukha ng Aganan flyover na matagal nang walang nangyayari, hindi natatapos, tapusin na natin. Pero, para sa akin, ang pinaka-importante, safety. And yun nga, nakita natin yung problema sa Ungka na lumulubog and merong suspetsya na yung problema sa Ungka, ganun din ang problema dito. So, para sa akin, kailangan nating tapusin ito ng mabilis, pero we have to make sure na safe. No, hindi natin ikompromiso yung safety. No, tsaka yung kasi buhay ng mga kababayan natin ito, no? Ayaw nating mag-compromise on that. We will ensure 100% safety, but we will also ensure, sabi nga ni PBBM, that we will finally finish it this year before Christmas of 2026.
Department of Public Works and Highways Secretary Vince Dizon.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other developments, the Department of Justice, or DOJ, has confirmed that former Public Works Secretary Manuel Bonoan is now included among the respondents in plunder charges tied to alleged irregularities in flood control projects. DOJ spokesperson Polo Martinez told reporters that Bonoan is facing plunder and other related complaints filed by the National Bureau of Investigation, or NBI. Martinez added that Bonoan is a co-respondent of Senator Jinggoy Estrada in the same case. He said the preliminary investigation has yet to be scheduled, as the complaint will still be assigned to a panel of prosecutors. According to Martinez, the allegations are not limited to a single project, but involve the supposed accumulation of more than 50 million pesos in ill-gotten wealth through multiple transactions linked to flood control projects. Bonoan returned to the Philippines on Sunday after more than 2 months abroad. He left for the United States via Taiwan in November of 2025 to accompany his wife for a medical procedure and was initially expected to return in mid-December. The former DPWH chief appeared at the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing on Monday as the inquiry into the controversial flood control projects resumed.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, the Department of Justice, or DOJ, has confirmed that 14 flood control projects under investigation are ghost projects or completely non-existent. During the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing on Monday, DOJ Officer in Charge, Secretary Frederick Vida, said several cases have already been filed before the Sandigan Bayan, while others remain under preliminary investigation. Vida stressed that prosecutors are proceeding carefully, noting that arrest warrants can only be issued by the courts once the Ombudsman approves the filing of information. He emphasized that evidence must be strong enough to withstand judicial scrutiny. He explained that the DOJ is working to narrow down the thousands of flood control projects under review, saying government resources and time are limited. Vida noted that clearer data from the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, would help reduce the number of projects requiring deeper investigation. Senator Erwin Tulfo, meanwhile, flagged discrepancies between the multi-year planning and scheduling system and the actual locations of projects, complicating efforts to determine which projects are truly ghost and which may have been built in different areas than originally recorded. Errors in grid coordinates have also contributed to delays in the issuance of arrest warrants, as authorities aim to ensure that only cases supported by solid evidence move forward. DPWH officials acknowledged the challenges, saying validation takes time because investigators must confirm whether a project was genuinely not constructed or simply misplaced on official maps. DPWH Undersecretary Ricardo Bernabe III reported that 421 projects are currently undergoing site validation to ensure that only verified ghost projects are elevated to the Ombudsman and the courts.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippine National Police, or PNP, on Monday confirmed that former Senator Ramon Bong Revilla Jr. has voluntarily surrendered at Camp Crame, arriving at the PNP National Headquarters earlier with his wife and children. Police say the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group, or CIDG, immediately served the warrant of arrest upon his arrival. Revilla was formally notified of the charges and advised of his constitutional rights. He is now under CIDG custody and undergoing standard booking and documentation procedures, including the required medical examination, all in line with established protocols.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW, has shut down Buenas Hotel Services in Malate, Manila, after surveillance operations revealed the company was allegedly conducting illegal recruitment while posing as a low-cost training center for overseas hotel jobs. DMW Secretary Hans Leo personally led the closure on Monday, saying investigators found the establishment recruiting workers without the required license and deceiving applicants with excessive fees. According to Kakdak, applicants were initially charged 4,500 pesos for so-called training. But once they passed, they were told to pay up to 350,000 pesos in total fees, 80,000 for processing and 250,000 for placement, with the promise of a hotel job abroad. He stressed that collecting such fees in exchange for overseas employment requires a license, and doing so without one constitutes illegal recruitment. Buenas Hotel Services was also found referring applicants to several private recruitment agencies, including Alju Recruitment Agency, which has been under preventive suspension since November over complaints involving hundreds of alleged victims. The DMW is now conducting a full investigation into the company and its partner agencies. 2 complainants have already come forward, each claiming to have paid up to 250,000 pesos but were never deployed overseas. Kakdak said more victims are expected to surface, which could elevate the case to large-scale illegal recruitment. He confirmed that the company owner was caught offering a job to an undercover operative during the operation. Charges will be filed before the Department of Justice, and the DMW is assisting victims through its Aksyon Fund. The agency is urging others who may have been victimized to report through Hotline 1348 or the Migrant Workers Protection Bureau. Kakdak said the operation forms part of the government's intensified crackdown on illegal recruitment, with enforcement efforts doubling in 2025 and set to expand further this year.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service can be heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. Radyo Pilipinas World Service is also live on audio streaming. Just download Evox PBS Receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.